here we go. Hip hop legends, insane clown posse's in the building.
Yes, sir.
In the legendary building.
In the legendary building.
Number one,
with the drum
that's
set in
such
the
an
back.
honor just being called hip hop legends. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah,
Off rip.
that don't ever go by without us noticing. That's epic to hear, man.
Word
For
up.
real.
Especially for somebody like you.
It's
Yeah.
absolutely true.
Hip
It's
hop
absolutely true.
legends.
Hip hop
That's
legends.
a hell of a compliment, man.
Come on, with the body of work, with what you guys have done, with the number of records, 8 million records sold, with the gathering of the Juggalos and the impact that you guys have had around the world with the whole Juggalo movement, you guys are absolutely hip-hop legends.
Hell yeah, man.
Thank you, man. It means a lot.
No doubt. No doubt. So
Glad calling us hip hop legends, man. There's been a lot of legends in these seats, man.
there has.
That's dope to be among that kind of company, man.
Hey, man, well earned.
Hell yeah.
Well earned. So you guys grew up in Detroit. Okay.
In and around.
Okay. And what was that like during that time? We're talking about the 70s, 80s.
No, not the 70s, man. What
Yeah,
the fuck?
we legendary, but not that. Not
Right.
that.
Well, I mean, when you were kids, you were born in the 70s,
80s.
right?
Yeah, born in the
Yeah.
70s, grew up in
yeah.
the 80s.
I was born in the 70s also. So.
Grew up in the 80s and the first half of the 90s, pretty much.
Okay.
You know?
And what was that like?
Well, there was basically the way we describe it back then. There was as far as in hip hop or in general,
In general.
in general, it was very. We didn't realize it at the time, but it was very segregated in Detroit. Things were very segregated. You know what I mean? Like we didn't realize it till we started traveling, but like it was like.
Everywhere we lived, it was integrated. You know what I'm saying? But like the actual borders of Detroit are like so segregated. You know what I'm saying?
Like one road would separate, heavy suburban life from heavy inner city life. You know what I mean?
Was that
Like
a Mac?
one road. You know?
Yeah, like on Mac on the east side, you could like seriously put your hand like this in front of your face, shut one eye, mansion, shut the other eyes, crackheads. Crack houses. You know what I'm saying?
And
Insane.
you guys described your upbringing as dirt poor.
Oh, word up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like trailer homes?
Nah,
Yeah. Well,
busted
like
up houses, but not trailer homes.
powdered milk, block cheese.
You get in trouble if you put the powdered milk with the condensed milk and get some super rich milk.
We were both hunger barrel poor. You know what I'm saying? Like really really poor.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But we had a roof
There's
over
people
our
that are
head,
poorer than us, though.
Yeah,
We can't complain.
We had a fridge. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
Okay. And I think, Violent J, your father left when you were a kid and I guess took all the money.
Well, yeah, there wasn't no money, but
no money
all the money.
my mom cashed. My mom had a income tax return check. You know what I mean?
That was all the money.
Probably $300 or $400 or something. And his punk ass snatched it right when she cashed it and jumped into his crackhead homie's car and they took off. And this happened when I was 2 years old, and he came back. He tried to come back when I was 42. 40 years later, man.
40 years later.
Ain't that ridiculous?
I saved the newspaper clippings.
40 years
That's
later,
that
man.
motherfucker.
You know what I mean?
He left at 2 years old and came back at 42.
Tried to come back, yeah.
And between that time, there was nothing.
There's so much in between that time. It's like, I couldn't even, when I heard that, I just was like, come on, man. Like, you missed that boat, man. And it wasn't like he was coming back for me. You know what I'm saying? He's coming back for his own ass. He was worried about catching a soft landing. You know what I'm saying? Is my speculation. But that's just ridiculous. 40 years later, like, come on, man. That's it's sometimes, man. I mean, no matter what he's going through in his, personal life, whatever, he missed that, man. He fucked up at that point. There's no point. You know what I mean? 40 years later, come on.
Okay.
Man.
So you weren't even really trying to talk to him at that point.
Hell no, man. He's a complete stranger, like all the way down. Any way you slice it, man. Anything I went through with not having a dad or anything I might have gone through in my life has been old news at that point. You know what I mean?
So here you are, two broke white kids living in Detroit on welfare, right? Mm-hmm. What do you think was the hardest thing that you went through during that time?
We talk about this a lot, man. We may have been...
It's hard to say because we had such great childhood.
Yeah,
we didn't realize we were poor.
Exactly.
You out there just throwing rocks at each other and fucking... Yo, here goes a stupid fucking story. Like, my mom could afford a couple, like, Tonka trucks. Remember Tonka trucks back in the day? So my brother had a couple Tonka trucks. And, like, around the block from my house was the projects, the Arabic projects. So fucking this one dude, his name was fucking Rafi, and he traded my brother the Tonka trucks for a golf club with the end that busted off. You could go like that and make a spark on the sidewalk. You know what I'm saying? Yo, so my mom went over there. You know what I'm saying? Got the fucking Tonka trucks. Not after a bitch threw fucking knives at her. You know what I'm saying? Went in the house, got the Tonka trucks, beat the kid on the fucking back with the fucking golf club. You know what I'm saying? Just stupid shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But you don't realize, to me, that was the best times of my life.
We had great childhoods, and we had awesome imaginations.
Yo, we had a golf club that sparked on the floor.
Who has
we had
that?
each other.
Oh,
You know
great.
what I'm saying? We had each other.
Yeah.
We both had big brothers. You know, our childhood was the shit, man. Like I don't want to make it sound like just because we were broke, we had this awful childhood. We had bombastic
Great
childhoods.
childhoods.
Well, Violent J, you were in a gang called City Posse.
Yeah, we both were. Yeah.
You both were.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still same call letters, ICP.
ICP.
Yeah.
How serious of a gang was this?
It was our attempt at a gang. It was serious to us.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But we weren't
We got in our
anything on
scraps and did a little this, little that.
We lived like gangsters as as opposed to not. You know what I mean?
Now that we're grown, it looks like stupid bullshit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But when we were going through it, that was the realest thing we ever went through. At
we
the time.
represented that, meant
To
a
the
lot to
fullest.
us, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But we
I
look
mean,
back
we're still
now,
rocking
we're
the
like,
rags.
dang, we were
Okay,
yeah,
the white rags came from that
Yeah,
time.
still
you know what I'm
rocking that
saying?
shit.
This is
Okay.
to us, this means
I mean, that's old school.
white, is no color, you know what I'm saying? Like
Neutral.
Yeah, neutral, anything, you know what I mean?
Well, in '89, Jay, you got jailed for 90 days for death threats, robbery, and violating probation.
I got for malicious threatening phone calls. And I violated probation, you know what I'm saying?
Threatening phone calls. You got arrested for that.
Yeah, well, yeah.
During Christmas, this guy.
And then I got I violated probation, you know what I'm saying? They told me to stay out of the city,
where you live now.
yeah, the city called Milford, which is out in the suburbs, and that's where this girl lived that I was
Hold on,
dating.
it's so ironic. He lives in the same fucking city now that he got banned from when he was a teenager.
Yeah, they told me to stay out of Milford, you know what I mean?
Now he
And I
lives
went
there.
back there, and then I violated. I didn't even really understand what probation was, you know what I mean?
Okay.
I went back like they said nothing. I was back like it didn't mean anything what they said, And now I live there, so that's kind of fresh, you know what I mean?
Okay. So you guys started doing hip hop together.
Yeah.
And it was a different name originally, right? It was
It was Inner City Posse.
Yeah.
Inner City Posse. Then it became JJ Boys, or
That
No,
was
JJ
beforehand.
Boys. Yeah, that was.
I was in middle school when that
Yeah,
shit went
me
down.
too. Yeah, JJ Boys was like,
Yeah.
I was in 7th grade. You were in elementary, I believe.
I might have been in 6th grade. Yeah,
Yeah, we were.
Sixth,
That was.
seventh
That
grade.
was. We weren't.
Okay.
We didn't have dreams of being hip hop artists. Though we had dreams of being wrestlers.
right?
How old are you when you were in 6th grade? You know what I'm saying? That's already a rapper by then.
But we did like a real. This is back when This is crazy when you look at it now too, because
It
this
was
is
7th
back.
grade
you know,
because
this-
my boy Jay, his cousin was Scratch Master T, and then we went over there and did the record, the Party at the Top of the Hill.
This is way back when rap
Yeah.
wasn't like it is now. This
Nah.
was, rap was relatively the beginning of rap still spreading out. You know what I mean? And you didn't find people that had turntables and recording equipment in their house. It wasn't like that.
This
back
dude
then,
had
you know
all
what I
that
mean?
shit. We were like,
We bumped in. We were
pushed our way
kids. We were kids, and this dude had a setup, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? He had he could scratch his ass off,
he had
man.
the 1200s. He had like the Gemini
And
mixer.
he was making beats, everything, and back then that shit was rare, man. It was like we were pretty lucky to find that
He
situation.
lived with his grandparents. He lived upstairs.
We question it now, though. What was a grown ass man doing hanging out with some little kids
Right,
like
some
that?
middle school motherfuckers.
Now we're like, man, what was going on? But then I also think of it like, man, just finding other dudes that were into hip hop like that.
Yeah, that was rare back then.
Yeah, it was
big
rare.
time.
And nothing crazy ever happened. I'm just, playing. But man, like that was a rare situation back then,